You're about to meet someone new. Your brain is running a dozen different social calculations, but your right hand already knows exactly what to do. It just pops out. It feels natural, automatic, polite. But what if I told you that simple, friendly gesture is actually a 3,000-year-old military protocol? You're not just saying hello. You're reenacting an ancient ritual of peace.
That's right.
Every time you shake hands, you're delivering a tiny, unspoken message that our ancestors understood perfectly. See? This hand is empty. I am not holding a weapon. You are safe. It's a micro-truce, a flash contract of non-aggression that has survived empires, revolutions, and even pandemics. So, how did this one gesture become the universal password for "we come in peace"? Our story starts not in a boardroom, but in a graveyard. Let's travel back to ancient Athens, around the 5th century BCE. If you walked through the Kerameikos Cemetery, you'd see stone slabs marking the graves of the city's families. And on them, you would see the same quiet, powerful image carved again and again. Two figures, calmly joining their right hands. This pose has a name: dexiosis. It often shows the deceased clasping the hand of a relative left behind. It's a gesture of meeting, but also of farewell. There's no vigorous pumping, just a steady, serene clasp. It's a silent promise carved in stone, a message that the bond between these two people is so strong it outlasts even death. It's a handshake that bridges worlds. And this wasn't just for art. Ancient Greek historians like Thucydides and Xenophon wrote about enemies giving right hands as a physical seal on a truce. The gesture itself was the contract. You could say all the right words, but showing the empty right hand and clasping the other person's was the visible proof of your pledge. It was a promise you couldn't fake, displayed for all to see. Now, let's hop over to Rome. The Romans, masters of engineering and empire, saw the power in this simple sign and adopted it everywhere. They gave it a Latin name: dextrarum iunctio, the joining of right hands. For them, it symbolized harmony, agreement, and good faith. And being Romans, they didn't just practice it, they mass-produced it. How? They stamped it right onto their money. Imagine you're a Roman legionary in the year 165, and you've just been paid. In your palm is a silver denarius. On the back, you see two right hands clasped together with the word CONCORDIA, harmony. This wasn't just decoration. It was political advertising, telling everyone that the co-emperors, Marcus Aurelius and Lucius Verus, were ruling in total agreement. It was a handshake in every pocket. The Romans even had a word for this binding trust: fides. Fides was so important they worshipped it as a goddess. And when they wanted to make a statue or a symbol of Fides herself, how did they show her? Often, with two right hands clasped. To the Roman mind, your right hand quite literally was your word made visible. It was the physical token of your honor. Okay, but why the right hand? Why not the left? The answer isn't in an ancient etiquette book. It's written into our DNA. For as long as we've been human, about 90% of us have been right-handed. This isn't a modern trend. It's a stable biological fact across time and cultures. And in a world of sharp objects, that makes one hand more important and more dangerous than the other. Think about it like a soldier. You wear your sword on your left hip for a fast draw with your right hand. You carry your shield on your left arm to protect your core. Your right arm is your offense, your weapon arm, your danger hand. So, when two warriors meet, the hand you watch is the right one. By reaching out to clasp right hands, both parties agree to momentarily disable their primary weapon. It's mutual, visible disarmament. This exact same logic survives today in a place you might not expect: the courtroom. When a witness is asked to swear an oath, they're told to raise your right hand. In some legal systems, like in Scotland, this is the entire ceremony. No book needed. It's a direct echo of the ancient tradition. The person is showing everyone their weapon hand is empty. They are physically demonstrating that they come with honesty, not a threat. So the handshake has ancient roots in peace and pledges. But it wasn't always the standard hello. Jump forward to 17th century England. Greetings were a complicated dance of social status. You had deep bows, fancy hat doffing, and elaborate curtsies. How low you bowed, or if you removed your hat at all, sent a clear signal about who was more important. It was a performance of hierarchy. And then came a group who thought all that was nonsense. The Society of Friends, better known as the Quakers. Their faith taught them that everyone was equal in the eyes of God, so they refused to perform these gestures of social rank. They saw all the bowing and scraping for what it was, a lie. Their solution was simple, direct, and for the time, deeply radical. They offered a plain hand clasp to everyone, regardless of their station. King or commoner, you got the same greeting. No masters, no servants, just two people meeting on the level. The Quakers didn't invent the handshake, but their stubborn, principled stand helped popularize it in the English-speaking world as the default, democratic greeting. It was a tiny revolution in etiquette. But what about the shake part of a handshake? Remember those ancient carvings? Just a calm, steady clasp. The up and down pumping motion seems to be a much more modern Anglo-American flourish. There's no single inventor, but somewhere along the line, we decided to add a little energy to the gesture. It moved from a static symbol of connection to a dynamic, active greeting, a little dance of good faith. By the time of Shakespeare, the phrase, "let us shake hands," was common. The verb tells you everything. The shake makes the gesture more active, more of a joint effort. It's a tiny performance where you and another person synchronize your movements for a second, a mini rhythm of agreement. It says, "We're on the same page, we're in this together." This democratic gesture really hit the big time in the modern era. And no one took it to a more extreme level than US President Theodore Roosevelt. Picture this. It's New Year's Day, 1907. The White House has opened its doors for a public reception, and thousands of ordinary citizens are lined up to meet the president. Their one moment with him? A handshake. Roosevelt stood there for hours, a human handshake machine. Attentive reporters actually kept a running tally. The final count for that single day was 8,510 handshakes. Let's do the math. Over 3 hours, that's about 47 handshakes per minute, a blur of knuckles and palms. It was a powerful piece of political theater. Any citizen could come and physically connect with their leader. Now, with any good rule, there's always a fun exception. If you've ever been a scout, you know this one. Scouts around the world use a left-handed handshake. The origin story, as told by founder Robert Baden-Powell, is a fantastic flip of the script. It comes from a story he heard about two Ashanti warriors in West Africa meeting. As the story goes, an Ashanti leader offered his left hand, explaining that the bravest warriors greet this way. To do so, they had to lower the shield they carried on their left arm, leaving themselves completely vulnerable. So, instead of disarming the sword hand, you drop your defense. It's a different flavor of trust. Historians note this is mostly scouting lore, but as a symbolic gesture, it's a brilliant twist on the ancient rule. For thousands of years, the handshake's only real threat was a hidden dagger. But in the modern world, the danger became microscopic. In 2014, scientists at Aberystwyth University in Wales decided to measure exactly what a handshake shares besides goodwill. They coated gloves in bacteria and tested different greetings. The result? A firm handshake transferred about 10 times more bacteria than a simple fist bump. It was a highly efficient germ delivery system. And then, in 2020, that lab result became global public health policy. The pandemic made this ancient sign of trust a potential vector of disease. Suddenly, we were all trapped in a state of social confusion. Do you wave? Do you do the awkward elbow tap? The hesitant foot shake? For the first time in centuries, that automatic outthrust right hand was put on lockdown. We had to unlearn a 3,000-year-old habit. And yet, the handshake is back. Why? Because the social software it runs is just too powerful. It conveys warmth, respect, and agreement in a single second-long interaction that's incredibly hard to replace. A fist bump says, "What's up?" A handshake can say, "You're hired, it's a deal," or "My condolences." It carries a social and emotional weight that has, so far, proven essential. The trust treaty is just too valuable to abandon. So the handshake has taken quite a journey. From a quiet farewell on a Greek gravestone, to a piece of propaganda in a Roman purse, to a revolutionary statement in a Quaker meeting house, all the way to a presidential marathon and a public health crisis. Through it all, the core logic has held. The right hand, offered open and empty, is a sign of peace, a pledge of honor, a contract of trust. So here's a fact for your next dinner party. When Roman emperors wanted to broadcast that they were getting along, they didn't issue a press release. They minted coins with their hands clasped. And yes, a US president really did shake over 8,000 hands in one day, and his shoulder probably deserved a medal. The ways we connect change, but this ancient gesture of trust holds on. If you like uncovering the secret backstories of ordinary things, stick around and subscribe. There's always another story to check out.